The more able dementia residents in dementia units are typically generous and kind to the less able, often called the wanderers. These wanderers typically walk the corridors day in, day out, so they don't sit down long enough to make friends, and they haven't the communication generally to do so, and they don't join in activities. So their life really is just walking around the unit and having meals, of course, but pretty much that's it, except when friends and family come in. But they do have their own life and their own ways and their own means of attracting attention and their own activities that they enjoy. Now, interestingly enough, what they used to enjoy, because they liked walking and they liked walking circuitously, they did this in the workshops. So all the women would be sitting in the group listening to the workshop, and the wanderer would come in and start walking all over their toes, bunions, around the walking sticks, through the walkers, getting in the way, and often nearly tripping themselves up and tripping others up if they were there. I mean, yeah, it was just like getting in the way, I suppose you'd say. They used to get in the way big time. You couldn't continue doing the workshop while they were in the midst of all this. And certainly initially, the ladies started calling out for them to get out of the way because, you know, they were standing on their feet and falling all over their walkers. But after time and consideration and effort and thinking about it and talking about it and having workshops on it, the women, the more able women, the ones that could communicate, most with Alzheimer's, most in their mid-80s, started to think about it, and with their newfound practice of positivity, started to say, well, you know, it's their life, this is their place, and they have a right to be here, and if this is where they wish to walk, well, maybe we just have to accept it for the time being until I've had enough of it, and then no doubt they'll go on their corridor circuit again. And so that's what they did. They were kind enough to tolerate the situation, not get upset, not get distracted, and actually in the end they got to love these lovely wanderers, these dementia residents who made their case known and would just, you know, stumble around on the inner circle. Not just stumbling, some of them had actually quite good balance, but not all of them. But still, it was a hazardous route, you know. You wouldn't do it as an able-bodied person, let alone a semi-disabled person. But anyway, this was the way that they liked to operate, and the group accepted it. Well, here they come, and we just had to stop the workshop for 5-10 minutes until they did their, you know, 3-4 circuits, and then they'd carry on around the corridor. So this was the kindness. This is the kindnesses that are extended to each other in the dementia unit, enabling people to have their own space, have their own way, have their own circuits, their walking path, just like the elephants across, you know, the ancient pathways in Africa. The wanderers also have their pathways that they like to go along around the corridors and around the inner circle of the workshop. And they're making their statement that they still exist and they're surviving and thriving, and just let them do what they wish, thank you very much. And you couldn't stop them doing it. No, if you tried to stop them from doing that circuit, they resisted big time. And not until you let them do 3, 4, 5 circuits would they then accept that they'd be on their way. So this really was a very interesting exercise in observation and the perception and the interest that the dementia residents in the end had for these people. Compassion and concern more like, and their not just tolerance, but it was tolerance initially, and then kindness and consideration, and then it was a loving affection really for these dementia residents that used to wander around. And because of that acceptance of these people, well, everyone accepting each other really, the dementia unit became a more calmer, happier, positive place to be in, you know, to work in, to live in. And this is just one of the ways that the kindnesses one of the ways that kindnesses are expressed towards each other, dementia residents to other dementia residents, many ways. You know, if someone falls over, they'll make sure that a staff member comes straight away to help them. If someone needs a glass of water, they'll either get it for them or ask someone else to get it for them. You know, if someone hasn't had a window seat for yonks, they'll make sure that they get a chance of the window seat. Lots of considerations that dementia residents give to each other. And the more that this is facilitated, encouraged and activated, and indeed independently initiated amongst themselves being the best way, the better and more positive and happier the community is. So I've written on these two topics at length in these two books, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, both from a dementia unit on Amazon and my website, description below. So thank you for your interest, likes and comments. Please subscribe. Thank you.